What is going on, everybody? Back again for another episode of Sunday Reset with Will and Friends. Except this is going to be another solo episode with me. Today, I want to talk about perfection because perfection isn't the standard that you should aim for. It is the trap that's holding you back. And I see it so rampant in today's world, both from a creative outlet and corporate America and all these different places. Perfection is this ache that just won't go away. And so I want to talk a little bit about that. I want to talk about, why is it that people are chasing perfection, what the costs are associated to it, and really try to get us to re-examine if perfection is really what we should be aiming for or if it's really the trap that's holding you back. So stay tuned. So I want to start with a quick personal story. So it's actually something my dad and I were talking about recently. We were talking about in music, it's one of his big prevailing theories is that so many of the people that we listen to and artists in today's music, the popular music out there and artists that come out today, it's almost too crisp. It's almost when you see them and hear them in the studio, there's no subtle imperfections on the percussion or in a guitar slide or anything else that's happening. There, it's just every note is auto-tuned so perfectly. And so I get it. On one hand, we have this wonderful technology that exists out there that allows us the opportunity to take these imperfect moments and tighten them up and make it look all neat and organized. But what we miss in doing that is the humanity. What we miss is that subtle warmth that comes from that slightly imperfect note or that little crack in someone's voice. Those moments that make you remember that this is still, no matter how magical the song is, it just reminds you this is all coming out of the soul of a human being. And so to me, that's something that I'm seeing just across the board. I see it with my friends. I see it with myself. You have this internal desire to try to achieve perfection because in some ways it feels very attainable, right? If I line up everything perfectly, then I account for all the variables and suddenly no more issues. I've nailed it. It's perfect. But the question I would beg to you is this: why is it so important that everything is perfect? Maybe you just truly care, right? Maybe you do truly care so much and that is driving you to want to, fire on all cylinders. Great. Love that for you. But I'm willing to bet that there is a large portion of people who are pushing for perfection because they're afraid of being judged and they're seeking some sort of external validation. Or it's not even so much about validation of themselves, but really it's the way they compare themselves to other on social media. It's if I don't have that picture perfect moment with my child to post on Instagram, then suddenly this whole trip to whatever destination is suddenly meaningless, right? Because it wasn't actually about the trip anymore. It was about just getting that picture perfect moment. That one Instagram photo, that one video that touches on everything that you were hoping for and that you can recall back to, never mind the hour spent crying in line or anything else that happened beforehand. Because you want to be able to show the world that you are that picture perfect family. And we tie in that perfection to our worthiness. And that's the part that really scares me. Again, I'm all for striving for perfection in a sense of like, I just want to perform at my highest quality. Like that's totally fair and reasonable. My fear is the underlying reason for a lot of people for that. Because if you're striving for perfection, I think you can realize that like if you're someone that just does that because they care about the quality of their work, you have a fundamental understanding that perfection is merely a vantage point and that you're probably never going to reach it, but you're going to strive for it anyway and hoping for the best. It's the people that are doing it for their worthiness of those around them. That's people aiming for a target that they don't realize is impossible to hit. And it's the thief of joy in their life. And it's ruining their moments of happiness with their children, or uh, it's affecting how they perform at work because they are so scared of making a mistake that they don't take any real chances, that they don't push the boundaries, that they don't test their minds. They're just so scared of getting something wrong that they don't give room for them to ever get anything right. And so, again, I want to go back to that early call out from the beginning. Perfection isn't the standard, right? It's something to strive for, sure, but like the standard is not what you're. It's what's actually holding you back. It's what's keeping you from doing that. And where I think it's holding you back extra is because the common phrase that you hear now is analysis paralysis, right? And I think that's so true with perfection, because you never want to get started on something because you're afraid of messing it up. You don't take that shot. Going back to that corporate America example, you don't raise your hand in the meeting for that unique idea because God forbid you get something wrong, or you say the wrong thing, or everyone might look at you wrong. And now all of a sudden you're never taking any chances, and the paralysis is preventing you from ever achieving anything. You see it in the business world all the time. People have these great ideas. Everyone will come up to you, oh, I've got this $1 million idea. I've got this $1 million plan, or this idea for a book or something like that. But what prevents them from executing on it? Their need for perfection. And I mean, writing a book actually is possibly like the best example I've ever seen of this, because a really, really good friend of mine, his name's Chris Molina. He actually said this to me when I was writing it. He called this out, and it has stuck with me for years. So Chris, if you're listening to this, shout out to you, man. Done is better than perfect. Because what we don't realize when creating any form of art is that there is no official finish line. There is this concept in our head of like what we think we want out of it, but it's never truly, there's always something more you can tweak. There's always another way to reword this, or a new idea to throw out there. It can eat away at you when you're creating something. And that's not just true for writing a book. It's true for writing songs. It's true for writing a movie or a script, or just anything in the creative arts specifically. It's at a certain point, you have to just say, this is what I have today, and I'm good with it as it is, and I can let the chips fall where they may. And then you can work on the new thing. But at a certain point, done is better than perfect. And there's ramifications. It's not just about like the end result of that product or whatever it is that you're trying to create. There's also real ramifications for you as an individual, because you can burn yourself out. We hear about burnout every single day in the news, or in, corporate talks and things like that. Like, how do I prevent burnout? And one of the biggest reasons that I see in people is this idea that, I have to shoot for this perfection. And so you keep spinning your wheels over and over and over again. You stay up late at night working on the same deck for the same PowerPoint slides to get every single detail possibly correct. Quick poll. Anybody ever been in a presentation ever in the history of their life, and now, X amount of time later, still think about that one slide? No. No, you don't. No, you don't. And if you do, you're lying. I'm sorry. Unless they put something really egregious up there, or it was like a glaringly bad typo that like just set with you because maybe you're a grammar person. Outside of that, no, you don't. No, you think about the thoughts and ideas that the person was presenting on, or you thought about how they really had no thoughts and ideas and they were just regurgitating information off a PowerPoint slide, which is also very rampant in today's world. And so, why are you then, if you don't think about that and anybody else's, why on earth are you spending your time worrying about every minute detail on every single PowerPoint slide, when in fact you could be spending a little bit more time focusing on the content you're sharing, the message that you're bringing home, and hoping that people walk away actually remembering something? So, perfection is something that, to me, I choose to look at it instead through a different lens. I look at things in terms of, I want progress, not perfection. I am shooting to be better than the last version of things. I'm working on another book right now for me. And yes, and it's very different than what I wrote in my first book, but it's also me trying to level up my ability. I'm not against progress, but me sitting here trying to think that I'm going to execute this perfect book is a fool's errand. There's no such thing. It doesn't exist. Maybe it's perfect for that one person at that one moment. Hell, even my first book, I don't think it was perfect. I think it's flawed in a lot of ways. But I've had people walk up to me and tell me, hey, I read your book and man, this really hit home. I can't imagine someone speaking to me more clearly. And so like, maybe it was perfect to somebody else, just like the same way you have a movie you love and maybe you haven't met anybody else that loves that movie the same way, but for you at that period of time in your life, it hits you at the right moment. And it's just perfection to you because perfection is a vantage point. So I strive for that. And then the other thing that really sits in my mind goes back to the kind of the beginning of this conversation, my dad and I talking about, the music out there, is I really strive for authenticity. That's what I care more about than perfection. Authenticity to me has flaws. It has things that are missing. It has imperfections that make it human. That doesn't mean you shouldn't try to use the tools we have today. You should use spell check. Doesn't mean that you shouldn't try to, put some effort forward. There's a line there, right? You could definitely go the other way. You could take this message that I'm saying and then go, well, I shouldn't just care. Just put everything out there and hope for the best. That's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is at a certain point, you have to understand that like the imperfections are part of what make it great. Like this podcast, I already just we're 11 minutes into this and I've caught myself stumbling over my words and I could go back and edit it. But I think part of what has resonated, there's been a lot of, recent success with the show here. And I think so much of that is dependent upon the fact that I treat this as authentically as I possibly can. And I really, really try my best to not edit out any of the content shared unless someone asks me to, because I do want it to sound well. I do want it to sound in a quality place. I want to put some production value behind I get a better mic and I, make sure to do some things on the back end to make sure everything sounds crisp as it possibly can. But make no mistake, like the words that are being said, I'm not really trying to clip and edit things out of context and make, hot take moments. I'm really trying to get an authentic and real conversation. And it seems like so far it's been resonating with people. So I think I want to get back to seeing that more in the world. I want to see that authenticity shine, and I want to see people feeling empowered to do so. That to me is what I hope to find in the world. And through that, by the way, by putting yourself out there, by making your imperfections something that you can feel proud of because you are authentically you and you're not afraid to take chances, you're building resilience too. Because along the way, yes, you are going to have some misses. By not accounting for every possible variable, you are going to take some steps forward where some of your peers are still stuck in analysis paralysis. But unfortunately, along the way, you're going to have some misses. You're going to have some moments like, you know what? You're right. I could have caught that. Yep, that's it. But I'll take that over anything. I'll take progress forward and sidesteps over never taking a move to begin with out of fear of getting something wrong. And that ability to navigate those waters builds resilience in a way that I think can't be taught. You have to just naturally get it over time by getting the reps in. So, if there's anything I want you all to take away from this episode, it's number one, done is better than perfect. Two, I call this the 70% rule. If it feels 70% good, it's good. Send it. We're done. If we're at 70% or better, sure, you might be able to tweak it, but at a certain point, I feel like there's diminishing returns beyond 70%. I also want you to remind yourself that you can reframe your mistakes as simply data. There's a great Nelson Mandela quote, I never lose, I either win or I learn. And I want all of you to take that home today, is just a mindset change of reframing your mistakes as simply data points to help you strive for a better outcome in the future. But you don't get there by trying to be perfect every single time. You get there by getting reps in, by trying and making mistakes. And last and probably most important, celebrate the small wins when you can. Every time you get it, you're chasing flawless execution. That's a fool's errand. You're never going to get that. Instead, make the adjustments as you go, learn from yourself, make real change by acting on everything you're looking forward to and everything you're trying to accomplish and making a big celebration out of even the smallest victories. So I leave you with one note. It's this simply: perfection is a moving target. You're never going to hit it. So progress, authenticity, resilience, these are goals that you can actually live by every single day. And this week, I want you all to post, share, and try something at 70%. Send it to me. I would love to know more. Show me you applying the 70% rule. I think that's great. Let the world see the real you. Post that picture on Instagram, and, don't edit the crap out of it. And just try to get a real, authentic moment with your friends and family. Let the world see the real you. I promise it will do you some favors. As always, be kind to each other. We'll see you next time. Thanks.